What's up guys, it's Celeste, and it's now officially been a month since I got my Daith pierced. It's actually been a month and 2 days. So I wanted to do an update, basically just talking about whether or not it has actually helped with my migraines, which was one of the main reasons that I got it done. So first I'll give a little bit of background on my migraines, just so you have an idea of what I was starting with. I've had migraines basically my whole life. The first time I heard one of my headaches referred to as a migraine, I was in first grade. So it's been kind of a lifelong problem for me, and I don't get aura. My main symptoms are very severe head pain and nausea and some other stuff like cognitive difficulties, like coming up with words and things like that, trouble focusing, and also sometimes depression and fatigue and stuff like that. It just kind of like knocks me down a lot. And when I get a really severe migraine, I also get like weird temperature fluctuations and stuff, but I don't usually get migraines that are that severe because I fortunately have found some medication that does help me when I'm starting to get a migraine. I take sumatriptan, it's the generic form of Imitrex, and it really helps me a lot. It also has some really, not bad I guess, but kind of derailing side effects. It tends to make you really drowsy. It also has effects on like cognitive ability and fatigue and things like that. I tend to get muscle fatigue and really have trouble focusing, trouble thinking of words, and trouble even talking. Like the act of talking is harder after I've taken it, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm really thankful that the drug exists, but it's not a cure-all. Like, it does help with the migraine pain itself, but it doesn't take away what migraines take away from me, which is kind of derailing my life and making it hard to do things. And for frequency, it's really kind of varied throughout my life how frequent I get them. Sometimes it's been very infrequent, very rare for me to get one, especially one that's really bad. But more recently, in the last few years, I've been getting a lot of them. I would say before I got my Daith pierced, like within the like few months preceding that, I was getting them a few times a week, to the point where I had to take the medicine. I would get other headaches throughout the week, like pretty much every day I would get some kind of headache, but a lot of times it would either be kind of mild or I would just kind of suffer through it. But as far as migraines that were bad enough for me to take a triptan, I would say probably 3 to 4 times a week. Sometimes I would take them like 6 days in a row, and then sometimes I would go like 4 days without taking one. So it really kind of varied, but I was taking them pretty frequently. So now that I've gotten my Daith pierced, what is the difference? Well, unfortunately, I can't say that it has completely erased my migraines, but it's had a really big effect. In the month since I had my Daith pierced, there have been several times that I've had headaches, and there have been several times when I've gotten a migraine of some kind, some severity. But there have only been 2 times that I've taken a triptan. 2 times in a month, which, as you can see by what I just told you about how often I was taking them before, is a huge improvement. And the 2 times that I did take it, there were also some other circumstances involved, which I'll get into in a minute. But the other ones that I did not take the triptan for have still been migraines. Like, I've still felt sick and everything. But in a few cases, I was able to relieve the migraine or relieve the pain in some other way. Like, for example, I actually had one last night, and it was like toward the time I was going to bed. It was like starting around dinner time or right after dinner. So I kind of just suffered through it for the evening because I really didn't want to take a triptan, because I'm really trying to test this and to not like just give in and sort of ruin the experiment. But I kind of suffered through it, and then when I went to bed, I got a cold pack and put a cold pack on my head. And when I woke up, no migraine, which, just for some frame of reference, like, I did the cold pack thing a lot when I would have a migraine at night. But frequently, I would have to do it alongside taking a triptan, and then I would still wake up later with still the migraine. Or I would just get a new one in the morning. So that's not what happened last night. Like, I woke up, no migraine, and it was totally gone. I did not take any triptans or anything. So that's happened a few times where I either did something else or it just kind of went away on its own, which like never ever would have happened before. It used to be if I got a headache and I could start to feel it like turning into a migraine, like if I didn't take something right then, it would always turn into a migraine. It would always get worse and worse and worse until I took something or it was too late to take something. So that's a huge difference for me. So the two times that I did have to take one, and this is gonna sound kind of silly, but the first time I was wearing a minimizer bra, and that doesn't seem like it would really have any effect, but apparently it does. It's the same reason that I don't wear a binder most of the time, because I guess it's like the oxygen flow or something. Basically every time I've worn the binder, I get a migraine, and apparently wearing a minimizer bra has the same effect, even though it's not nearly the same amount of compression, but that was the only thing I did different that day. So I really think that that was the reason for that. And then the other time I was menstruating, so it was like hormonal stuff that frequently in the past has been a migraine trigger for me as well. I pretty much always get really bad migraines around that time, and usually they are the kind that are completely unresponsive to medication. So a lot of times I'll take triptans and it still doesn't really make any difference. I basically just have to suffer through it. So that's what happened this time, but I did take triptan and it did help. So the migraine went away and it was fine after that. So even though it hasn't completely gotten rid of my migraines, I really feel like there's been a huge effect, and definitely one that I, at this point, feel confident saying that it is because of my Daith piercing, because I was kind of afraid for a really long time to say anything definitive. Like I was afraid I would jinx it, and I was afraid that, like, I don't know, I was being, I guess, kind of superstitious about it or something, but after over a month now and only having the 2 migraines that were bad enough to take a triptan, and then also having these other ones that responded to other things or to nothing and kind of went away, which never would have happened before, I feel like that's evidence enough for me to say that it does have an effect. So I'm really glad I had it done. I also like how it looks, so that's a bonus. And I really wish that I had known about this a long time ago. I really wish that I had gotten this done when I was like 7 years old, and then my whole life would have been different. But I'm glad I know about it now, and obviously everybody is different, so if you have migraines and you're curious about doing this, I mean, your mileage may vary. It totally depends on your own migraine triggers and your own body and everything like that. But personally, I would definitely recommend trying it if you're in a position like I was, where you're kind of desperate and you've tried so many other things, and especially if you just like piercings anyway, and like kind of like I was, I wanted to get an ear piercing on this side somewhere anyway to sort of balance out, because I already had the tragus done on this side. So I figured, why not get that done, and it definitely worked out for me. As far as the piercing itself, it's healing really well. It still hurts a little bit when I clean it occasionally, and also sometimes I'll wake up on that side and I'll have been putting pressure on it in my sleep, and then it kind of hurts a little bit, but it's definitely getting a lot better and definitely on its way to healing. There's not really that much to see about it because it looks pretty healthy, but I'll do a close-up of it just so you can see what it looks like now after a month. So I hope this was helpful to anybody who suffers from migraines and was curious about this sort of rumor that's been going around about whether Daith piercing actually can help. For me, it definitely has. So if you have any other questions about this, then please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll be happy to either answer them there or do a follow-up or whatever if I get enough questions. And if you like this video, you can also give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.